I'd like to welcome everybody to PMI-Maine's February event. Tonight, we're lucky to have Topaz Smith going over the entrepreneurs' risks and opportunities in Maine. I'd like to introduce Binga. He's our Vice President of Programs and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Joe. So we are really happy. We are really happy to have everybody on board today. And maybe just to give a little bit of a preamble, the board is making a kind of determination this time around to bring programs that are really applicable to Mainers. And we thought that we could start this year's program with entrepreneurship, the risk and opportunities in the state of Maine. The Northeastern University that is coordinating the Roux Institute in Portland is an institution that is geared towards project management. And we reached out to them and they were kind enough to send their founders residency program manager, Topaz Smith, to come and address us and enlighten us about the risk and opportunities for entrepreneurs in Maine. And so without much ado, I'm going to leave the stage and invite Topaz Smith and our team to please take over now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, PMI-Maine. I want to share my... I'm really excited that everyone was able to come and join us this evening. Once again, I want to thank PMI-Maine for hosting this conversation and inviting me to speak. My name is Topaz Smith. I am the founder residency manager at the Roux Institute in Portland, Maine. I also am a founder of a travel startup called Innoval, which is based out of New York City, that creates itineraries for subculture communities globally. And so today, we are going to be speaking about the entrepreneurs' risks and opportunities in the state of Maine. So, when I originally had spoken with Gimbenga, it was great to connect with him just to kind of hear more about what PMI-Maine, does, but also the conversations that you guys are having now at this time of COVID, when so much has changed everywhere. And really being able to be proactive about certain things and bring together like minds in a way that you can think for the future. So hopefully throughout this presentation, you guys can engage. This is meant to be interactive, so feel free to connect. We also have a portion of it where there will be breakouts, so I look forward to hearing more of your thoughts. So intro to Maine. Next slide. So I wanted to start off with an agenda. The overview is really just being able to understand why we're here today, why are we ready to talk about this conversation. And a lot of that is because of the changing in demographics in the US, the entrepreneurship focus that's happening in our economy and throughout the world. I think of entrepreneurship as the new wild, wild west. Everybody's trying to get to the unicorn and figure out what's the next big thing. But speaking specifically to Maine and what exactly the focus is for, connecting with the resources here, but also identifying risks to be at the forefront of change. I think this is an important conversation that we're having right now. So we're going to start out with the risk. We're then going to talk about the opportunities. We're going to talk about a case study on integration in the health field. And then we're going to do some breakouts and share outs. We're also going to have a representative from my team from the Roux talk about some of the courses that we have and some of the information that we normally share when we're giving these talks. So next. Okay, so question to the group. What does New York City, Austin, Silicon Valley all have in common? And hint, it's not city. Innovation hubs. Okay, anything else? Don't all say it at once. Tech startups, okay. What else?
I would have said they're all urban areas, but that's pretty obvious. So
Okay, there's more. 5G. That's a really good point. Infrastructure. Okay, what else? Diverse populations. Okay. I'll give you guys two more answers.
they both have great music scenes.
Music.
I mean, they all have great music scenes.
Okay, that too. And one more. Highest real. I think Portland is getting there actually, so not so far off. As well as other towns, but yeah. So what they all have in common? They definitely have a city presence, so there's that, right? But there's a focus on strong engineering talent. There's transportation, there's infrastructure around that. Well, Austin sort of ish. There's technology. There's diverse perspectives. Yes, so these are some of the things that these cities that tend to have really, large startup populations and tech innovative communities. These are some of the things that they have. Now, when we think about Portland and Maine, or at least I keep on saying Portland because I'm in Maine, I'm Portland, but let's talk generally around the state. Many of the things that come to mind in terms of risks I've gotten through research is brain drain. A lot of retired folks without the necessary pipeline to fill talent, and I'm sure I'm sort of preaching to the choir here because many people know this. Lack of diversity, with white, non-Hispanic being a major portion of the population. And the risk just being the lack of diverse perspectives in terms of being able to tap into larger consumer markets and have a more competitive edge. There's from the census, under 18, that was actually down in 2020, 1.4%. And the adult population was up. So thinking about the pipeline issue for the state and the lack of youth and talent that's supposed to be growing. And then housing units, right? Housing stocks, they were up 6.7%, and then vacancies were down to 9.7, which just really highlights the issue around housing. But within that, I see plenty of opportunity. Why? Because the diversity index was increased. It went up from 54.9 to 61.1. That means that there is space for innovation. There are diverse perspectives that can be used to create competitive edge in markets here. And that also means that there is area for certain businesses to compete in other markets. Also the Roux Institute, that being a big source of, the next generation pipeline into tech and to also attract more startups to Maine. Having the need of skilled labor to replace retirees just means that there's places for innovation, even more places for innovation. There's more areas that you can attract fresh talent, and focuses on building out infrastructure as well as resources for people to learn different skills and to replace the retirees. And I spoke to this prior capturing a greater share of the consumer market through diverse perspectives, and then changing demographics, knowing that that can increase the competitive edge, as I spoke to before, but also funding. The work that I do is focused a lot on founders and startups. And one of the things that we see interest investors from outside the state is the Maine Seed Capital Tax Credit and state funding that is helpful for business owners, as well as tech startups that are interested in growing their businesses here. And so one of the case studies that I wanted to bring into their conversation is a company called Eli Lilly. I'm sure some of us have heard of that. It's one of the largest insulin providers in America. And the reason why I bring this is because of their ability to attract diverse talent and what that has done in terms of creating their competition and increasing their competitive edge in an industry that's quite saturated. I have a link here to one of the pages they have on their website that speaks to their program sending employees abroad. And not only do they send employees abroad, but they're always trying to increase talent, bring it to Indiana. And that not only allowed for them to diversify their products, but it also allowed for them to attract other larger corporations to Indiana. And this obviously is a great move for the state, for the city, and has allowed for there to be diverse talent and the building out of infrastructure for individuals that are looking for comfortable, affordable areas where they can grow their families, they can grow their careers, and they can feel as if they're represented in the workplace. So one of the goals that Eli Lilly stated was to help others and spark employees' innovative ideas that will make Lilly a better company. This is very true for millennials and Gen Zers that are on the rise. Understanding their goals, understanding the ways in which they think are very important for entrepreneurs to learn how to integrate them into their businesses, and also for businesses to think about capturing these consumers for their future. I think the focus on growing companies that can serve a broad range of people is the only way for success moving forward. And so building those interests into business now will not only create space for diverse talent, but it will also create space for innovation. And one of the Forbes articles that I read during my preparation for this presentation was very interesting because it spoke to decision-making and the thought processes of Columbia Business School professor, Catherine Phillips, on how diversity makes us smarter. And one of the things that she said was diverse teams become better prepared for decision-making and accomplishing the task at hand. Differences among team members force each person to anticipate that there will be alternative and unexpected viewpoints to consider and evaluate. Reaching consensus will take more effort. People must work harder to communicate their own thinking, and they need to broaden their own views to consider unexpected perspective of others. This takes more work and preparation, but it's significantly valuable. And with that, we want to encourage not only project managers, but also other areas of Maine to consider some of the issues that I raised. And within the Roux Institute, we are working specifically within my cohort on making sure that our founders are thinking about this in the ways in which they're building their business. They're acknowledging the changing demographics, but they're also supporting a lot of these data points through research and the building of some of the products that they have created.